Hello, sixth grade, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are working on day 2 of writing a myth. We will be focusing on the learning target writing an exposition that engages a reader. And as we know, the exposition includes the character, setting, and introducing the problem. So you will know you're successful if you can develop 2 to 3 characters and include their characterization in your writing. You have included gods and goddesses in your myth, as well as including a mythological creature if you would like. You can use the following links to click on and get to know some Greek gods. So if you're interested in Poseidon, you could learn a little bit about Poseidon by clicking on his name and learning that he's the god of the sea. So if you were picking Poseidon, most likely your setting would be somewhere near a sea. If you are interested in looking at some mythological creatures for your plot, here is a link and you can scroll down and see some of the creatures. You may have heard of some of them before, like Cyclops or centaurs. So here is a list of all the mythological creatures: Medusa, Minotaur. A lot of these come up in our read aloud of Percy Jackson. So remember, characterization is what we feel, what the character says, what the character does, and what the character thinks. So as you're planning your characterization and picking your characters or gods and goddesses, think about how they might feel about certain things. So you're going to be brainstorming ideas that show important character traits expressed through what he or she feels. Also actions. So once you get to know your character, you'll also know how they'll act in certain situations. So brainstorm ideas that show important character traits expressed through what he or she does. What they might say. So this is where the dialogue takes place. You're going to brainstorm ideas that show important character traits expressed through what he or she says to another character. And then their thoughts. Brainstorm ideas that show important character traits expressed through what he or she thinks as well. I just brought up a graphic organizer that we used during the urban legend writing. And if you can remember that there's some of the character traits that we were picking out when we were trying to describe how our character acted. So that's just there for your reference. So we're going to be talking about how your character talks. So here's a strategy for writing. So think about the character that you're creating as being like a real person. Think about the details of how they talk, their voice, their cadence. Are they robotic in how they talk? Are they sing-songy? Do they have slang, dialect, accents? Plan for or revise the details in your dialogue to help make your character unique. So as you're starting your draft today, think about what makes your character different, how they speak. So each of your characters in your story should have a very distinct voice. It's so clear, in fact, that so clear and different that the reader should be able to tell who said what without even knowing the tagline. There's a couple ways to do this. The cadence. Is your character going to talk in short, simple sentences or long, run-on sentences? Slang. Think of certain expressions that your character may use, or a word or phrase that they will use in common situations. An accent or dialect. That's my favorite. So include words that are spelled phonetically to reflect how they talk. So think about how your character will speak. Look back at the dialogue you have written, and then think about what changes you might make to the dialogue so that the character's voice is distinct and clear. So for example, thank you, ma'am. We read this a few weeks ago. I'll read it out loud with the dialogue in the dialect. Firmly gripped by a shirt from the front, the boy said, "Yes'm." The woman said, What do you want to do it for?" The boy said, "I didn't aim to." She said, "You a lie." By that time, 2 or 3 people passed, stopped, turned to look, and some stood watching. "If I turn you loose, will you run?" asked the woman. "Yes'm," said the boy. "Then I won't turn you loose," said the woman. She did not release him. I'm very sorry, lady, I'm sorry, whispered the boy. Uh-huh. And your face is dirty? I got a great mind to wash your face for you. Ain't you got nobody home to tell you to wash your face? So when I read this in class, some of my students said, she sounds country. And yes, she does. They both sound country by the way that they're talking and the dialect they're using. Yes'm. So the boy, it's something he's saying over and over. And the woman, we thought might be country too because of the way she's talking as well. So those are things that you can plan in your writing, in your dialogue. Another excerpt from The Lightning Thief. It starts on page 179. I'll click over to it. And this is another way that you could use dialogue. Then the door creaked open, and standing in front of us was a tall Middle Eastern woman. At least I assumed she was Middle Eastern because she wore a long black gown that covered everything but her hands, and her head was completely veiled. Her eyes glinted behind the curtain of black gauze, but that was about all I could make out. Her coffee-colored hands looked old, but well manicured and elegant, so I imagined she was a grandmother who had once been a beautiful lady. Her accent sounded vaguely Middle Eastern, too. She said, "Children, it is too late to be out all alone. Where are your parents?" "They're, Annabeth started to say. "We're orphans?" I said. "Orphans?" The woman said. The words sounded alien in her mouth. "But, my dears, surely not." "We got separated from our caravan," I said. "Our circus caravan. The ringmaster told us to meet him at the gas station if we got lost. But he may have forgotten, or maybe he meant a different gas station. Anyway, we're lost. Is that food I smell?" "Oh, my dears," the woman said. "You must come in, poor children. I am Auntie M. Go straight through to the back of the warehouse, please. There is a dining area." We thanked her and went inside. Annabeth muttered to me, "Circus caravan? Always have a strategy, right?" "Your head is full of kelp." The warehouse was filled with more statues, people in all different poses, wearing all different outfits, with different expressions on their faces. I was thinking you'd have a pretty huge garden to fit even one of these statues because they were all life-size, but mostly I was thinking about food. Go ahead, call me an idiot for walking into a strange lady's shop like that just because I was hungry, but I do impulsive stuff sometimes. Plus, you never smelled Auntie M's burgers. The aroma was like laughing gas in the dentist's chair. It made everything else go away. I barely noticed Grover's nervous whimpers or the way the statue's eyes seemed to follow me, or the fact that Auntie M had locked the door behind us. All I cared about was finding the dining areas, and sure enough, there it was at the back of the warehouse, a fast food counter with a grill, a soda fountain, a pretzel heater, and nacho cheese dispenser. Everything you could want, plus a few steel picnic tables out front. "Please sit down," Auntie M said. "Awesome," I said. Grover said reluctantly. "We don't have any money, ma'am." Before I could jab him in the ribs, Auntie M said, No, children, no money. This is a special case, yes? It is my treat for such nice orphans." "Thank you, ma'am," Annabeth said. Auntie M stiffened, as if Annabeth had done something wrong. But then the old woman relaxed just as quickly, so I figured it must have been my imagination. So you'll notice when she said that she was a Middle Eastern woman, so you can make her sound like what you're envisioning. So when I envision a Middle Eastern woman, that's kind of the voice I use, and that kind of helps me picture who's speaking and what characters are saying what. So your task today, you're planning your characters. So you're getting at the learning target 3.1 and 3.3. Engage the readers by developing an exposition, by describing the setting, establishing the situation, introducing the narrator and or characters. Use narrative techniques such as dialogue, description, pacing to develop experiences, events, and or characters. You'll know you're successful if you can develop 2 or 3 characters and include their characterization. I have included my god or goddess in my myth. I can plan ways to include how my characters feel, what they say, what they do, and what they think. I can use my plans to develop my characters in the myth. So, before you start drafting, what you need to do is you need to make a copy of your character planning sheet. This should look familiar from when we planned our urban legend. So when you open it up, you will have your own slideshow. And then you have the opportunity to plan up to 3 characters. Please notice that the first 2 slides are character 1, the second 2 slides are character 2, and the third slide, or slide 7 and 8, are character 3. I know on the last time some students thought each slide was a different character. So notice character 1, character 2, character 3, because we are looking at what they feel, how they act, what they say, and what they think. So you will make a copy of this and you will begin planning your character name, whether it is a god or goddess or somebody you made up, like a real person. When you are finished with that, you will submit it into the modules, into your characterization module. It says character planning. This will help you prepare for drafting. So once you've thought through your characters, what they might do, what they might say, what they might feel, you will submit it into your character planning module. Okay.